Yuzo Koshiro announced his new game for the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive, Earthion, back at TGS 2023. Recently, he's been releasing more footage as the release date approaches in 2024. I am insanely hyped about this game, so much that I would say it's actually my #1 most anticipated game of 2024. So today we're going to talk about why I'm so hyped about this game, and then we're going to do a little bit of trailer analysis breaking down some of the techniques being used to make this game. It's worth noting Yuzo Koshiro is my favorite video game composer of all time, but some of the tracks in this are just perfect for an action game. Let me share a little clip with you. It's such a perfect song for any kind of high action game like this. Anyway, outside of the music, we need to talk about how cinematic this game experience is looking and how it all ties together. All of the attention to detail, from the ship's protective layer flying off as it enters the atmosphere, to the color of the sky changing, to flying in the upper clouds for a while before dropping down to a lower level and then being inside the clouds. The attention to detail and intentionality here is really apparent, and it seems like Koshiro-san and the team at Ancient are really putting their all into this one. As for the graphical effects, this game uses some of the absolute most stunning color palettes and parallax effects I've seen on a Genesis/Mega Drive game to date. It looks like the team is taking several effects that I've only seen used really in tech demos and actually incorporating them into the game itself. A perfect example of this would be the ship's 3D animation as it launches from its carrier ship. For this effect, I've counted over 70 unique frames of animation. I'm not a developer by any means, and I'm not exactly sure how this is being pulled off, but I can for certain say the effect is jaw-dropping. I couldn't find any other games where a similar technique was being used, but after doing some research into the demo scene for the Genesis, I was able to find a tech demo called The Spiral by Resistance that featured a similar large, high frame rate sprite animation that emulates a 3D rotation. In Earthion, you'll notice that during the ship's 3D animation, there are very few other sprites on screen. My guess would be that they're using some kind of trick to quickly swap between multiple sprites to create the illusion of one single object animating at a very high frame rate. If you're a developer or have knowledge of another game on the Genesis or Mega Drive where an effect like this is used, please leave a comment down below because I would love to know more about how this impressive effect is being pulled off. Alright, next I want to talk about how this game seems to be being developed with CRT televisions in mind. I'm sure there are some other retro game developers that still do this, but to be honest, it's my first time really closely following a game where this has been so apparent. It's worth noting that all of the initial trailers released by Koshiro-san have not been direct game capture footage, but actually footage of a camera recording the game being played directly off a CRT TV. Retro game enthusiasts will be aware that many older games developed for CRTs took clever advantage of some of the shortcomings of the screen technology to create some unique effects in games. On the Genesis, one of the most famous CRT effects is the shimmering waterfall in the original Sonic the Hedgehog. This is created through the clever use of dithering when played on a CRT with a composite or RF connection, as shown in this clip here. Notice how the impression of the water in the waterfall feels completely different when switching between the sharp pixelated graphics and the softer, more organic look of the CRT effect. So going back to the trailers for Earthion, like I said, all of the trailers Koshiro-san has released on Twitter have been recorded with a camera off the screen of a CRT. However, I was able to track down one TGS gameplay demo where some direct capture seems to have been taken. In this side-by-side comparison, you can really see the difference between how the game looks across two different captures. It's worth noting that this is not a perfect example because there are definitely some color correction and brightness issues that need to be sorted, which results in some loss of background detail on the CRT capture, but it should give you a glimpse of just how different playing this game would look on an HD TV versus a CRT. You can especially notice the difference in the appearance of clouds as well as other effects, like the enemies in the R-Type inspired stage feeling much more round and organic on the CRT. You can also note how the lava in the boss encounter looks different, as well as the boss sprite itself. For those who plan on playing this game on real original Sega hardware, it's also worth noting that Koshiro-san himself has been outspoken about both composing for real hardware, as well as going as far as posting several additional clips to his Twitter account of him testing audio effects being played on real hardware through a CRT speaker. In a tweet from July 19, 2024, he said, "Check out how significant the sound effects are, just like the music on the real console. If you remember the sound of arcade games from those days, you'll truly appreciate how detailed they are crafted. Earthion brings that era to life, even in sound, right now." Now, Koshiro-san, of course, is Japanese, and while his English is very good, it's not perfect, but I believe what he's trying to communicate here is that he's paying extra special attention to detail to tailor the music of Earthion to the real Genesis hardware and its famous Yamaha YM2616 sound chip. All this is to say, I'm incredibly excited to play Earthion, and I think it's shaping up to be one of the most impressive games ever created for the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive. And I'm really not being hyperbolic when I say, as of the time of recording this, this is my #1 most anticipated video game of 2024 for any console, including modern hardware. Well, that's pretty much going to do it for this video. I would love to hear what you all think about this game. Are you going to pick up the Nintendo Switch version? Are you going to pick up the cartridge version for the Genesis or Mega Drive so you can experience the game on real hardware on a CRT? I would love to hear what you all think in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, consider becoming a channel member. Memberships are basically just like Patreon, but within YouTube, so there's no need to go to another site. Everything is just here within YouTube itself. Channel members get access to different perks like member-exclusive videos, badges, emotes, and early access to videos. Memberships start at $1.99, and that gives you access to all of the exclusive videos. And if you want to pledge more, just like Patreon, you can. If you're interested in joining or want to learn more, just click this button at the top right of my YouTube page. And also consider joining our Discord. We've got a great little community going on where we hang out and talk about all things retro games, anime, Gunpla, and more. The Discord is completely free, and there's a link at the top of my YouTube page as well. Anyway, that's about going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed this, it would really help the channel if you could give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. And thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you all, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye!